Good afternoon, masterminds. Good afternoon. We are currently in Ratas. We all saw what happened. I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised that Rata does missed the section 174. I'm actually just disappointed. I'm extremely disappointed because I had some kind of hope that Rata might follow the evidence and you will at least see that the state didn't prove the case beyond reasonable doubt. And I'm extremely disappointed that Rata is relying on Zungu's evidence. And Rata is considering Zungu a reliable witness. And I also noticed that he mentioned Absalom Zungu as the person who identified the 5 accused. Now all of us know the story of Absalom Zungu. Now, you know what I'm wondering? I'm going to ask questions now. I'm going to speculate. I'm going to give my own opinions. In my opinion, I believe this was a strategy from the defense, and they wanted to see how is Rata going to handle the section 174. They wanted to see on which evidence Rata was going to rely upon, and then they were going to take it from there. Now we know that Rata is depending solely on Zungu's evidence. Rata is not depending on the evidence that was led by the experts, based on the AVL, based on the ballistic evidence on the firearm, based on the section 204 cell phone records. Rata is actually saying that based on the evidence that he had in court, all those experts placed the accused persons at the crime scene. Now, my question is, now that the defense knows that Rata is depending on the evidence of Zungu and the evidence of Absalom Zungu, are they going to proceed with the section 174 applications, or are they going to abandon the section 174 applications because they know now on which factors they must focus now? They know now the most important people to be called as the defense witnesses is Absalom Zungu and it's Zungu. Zungu must be recalled because Rata even said on several occasions, Zungu corrected himself. Hi, Japs.
Hi,
Well,
respect.
I was just keeping the conversation going based on what we saw and based on what we know. Rata is only relying on the evidence of the Zungus. Absalom Zungu's evidence and on the evidence of the young Zungu. So now we know already that Absalom Zungu did not. Rata even went as far to say that Dininda took a stand from Absalom Zungu. So we know, and he mentioned something about Absalom Zungu was working at taxis between. I want to go back there because I didn't hear clearly. But if you heard, what is your take on this one, Jabs.
All right, good. Good afternoon, Suspect and Real Mastermind. Wow, I think it's just to say I was not expecting this judgment. Basically, I thought that for once, Rata is just going to apply law and acquit the persons because the state had failed. Appreciated if he said, although the state has failed, he's also mindful that maybe there's still other evidence that might, just say something, but do not fabricate things that are not in there. So I believe that today Rata did fail. He failed us South Africans. He failed the accused persons. He failed the Mayor family. His actions really defeating the ends of justice. It's like we're definitely listening to the different case as him. I'm starting to question whether the age is not a factor now in his whole presiding, whether he's there or maybe he's just sleeping. Because some of the things they just so disappointing. Now, suspect I believe that the judgment is a one-way street. The judge prepare it his or her note and then come and deliver those notes with his reasoning. The judge always they always enjoy rights of if he was not ready, postponed it to Friday or something like that. I had few disturbing moments during his conversation because I feel like he was having conversation when he tried to correct himself. He says, Baloyi, what's this? I felt that that was out of tune.
Mm,
Um, then also, I felt that it was just very pitiful for him if he's trying to introduce English. Yes, we know that he knows English, but a satire to South Africans that maybe because the interpreter may have failed um, to explain that. A satire is a form of playing with words where
mm,
you're saying something in a fun way. Basically, you're making fun of something serious. Basically, that's that. We've seen in a lot of plays in the Soviet Union during the Stalin era. There's writers actually use satire. So situation is very serious. You try to like Zungu's response is sometimes. I never thought that Zungu's response were satirical. I think they were condescending those response of Zungu because if you Rata you are acknowledging that Ramsipile actually acknowledged that you know what I made a mistake with that. And then Zungu also acknowledged that if you are apologizing, then I accept that apology. Now, if we're having a judgment that feels as if the defense team never did a cross examination, then we're having a problem. When we're having a judgment that feels like that makes people who have conceded to certain things, it becomes a problem. Now, suspect we've touched on it a few like last week where we played Zungu when we are reflecting on a Elton Hart interview. We actually touch on Zungu's statement. We touch on the Zungu's behavior around the whole his the whole of his testimony. Now, Rata, one, he refused to play a record where Zungu himself he said he had two sets of statements.
mm,
He had the handwritten statement before, and then he commissioned it and he kept it to himself. Rata refused now in his judgment to acknowledge that although Zungu's information, he said he was writing his notes on them on the pieces of papers, the till slip, the newspapers, and everything like that. So now he says, no, 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 there was nothing wrong about Zungu's thing. So suspect because we real masterminds, we think like one. So what has happened here is that this judgment is designed to address two things. Remember, based on the interviews with Baba Zungu, Absalom Zungu, is that he was scared of his son and Keninda.
Mm.
Now, if this judgment is centered around Zungu and Zungu being a key witness, remember Zungu was disgruntled according to his father. He said Zungu was disgruntled. He even promised his father that he will go back to the judge and tell the truth
Yes.
because the benefits were removed from him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if then situation is like this now, they're gonna bring back Zungu, they're gonna make us state on our taxpayers' money. So I'm really disappointed, Suspect, with today's judgment because I feel that Rata has let us down. Rata has gone rogue. Rata is a judge that has gone rogue.
As I said in the beginning, and Jabs, and as I've been saying all along, I was 100% sure that Rata was not going to grant this what Section 174. I'm not surprised, I'm not shocked, but as you said, I'm extremely disappointed that Rata actually went through. And when Rata looked unsettled today, he looked disorientated. He was even shivering. He was shivering. I noticed that. I don't know about other people, but I noticed that he really didn't even look composed today. And I knew when I saw before he even started to read, uh, 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 I saw that this judgment. Remember last time we spoke about the judgment in the trial within the questions that were already typed even before Zungu went back to get his written statement. And I told myself, I said, there's judgment. And as you said, it was like Rada was the state today. He was arguing Zungu's case. And he was even asking for the assistance of Baloy. And he corrected himself to say, no, I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm not even supposed to ask you. And all I heard today, Rata didn't even flinch when he mentioned that Zungu, a police officer, told one of the people that, but didn't you told me that was the gun that you killed Mang with? A whole police officer, and it seems like Rata is glorifying, is condoning this police officer behavior who are sitting there with incubes and even asking them about a murder that they told him about before, and no one, and it's just normal in Rata's court. No one is saying anything. But on the other hand, I'm glad about this Section 174. Remember from the beginning, we were not in favor of this Section 174 in JAPS. We wanted
Yes.
the defense to call all the witnesses so that this issue can be exposed to the fullest, so that the witnesses can come and testify and dispute the state's version. You understand? Because in this court, the state doesn't have to prove anything. It's the witnesses who must prove their innocence beyond reasonable doubt. So I'm glad. I'm glad. But now also the defense now have also something to work on, because now they know what are Rata relying upon. The expert evidence that Rata mentioned does not link the defense anywhere. As you said, we don't know which evidence Rata listened to, but that is not the evidence that was. And mind you, the defense must also still call their own firearm ballistic expert. The defense must also call their own experts, whichever experts they are going to decide to call, their own sections 204 expert, their own AVL expert. And already Rata has made a judgment just in the 174 application that the evidence that was led by the state experts linked the accused to this crime. So, Anjab, I'm actually glad that Rada didn't grant this application because now it puts the defense lawyers under pressure. I'm asking myself, are proceed with the Section 174 application, knowing very
You
well
remember
that
the cup?
yes,
Did you see the cup he was
I can
drinking on?
I can see the cap.
That's fine. Sorry to interject.
So I am
No,
asking myself, is and Ramosipili going to proceed with their Section 174 application because they know already. I saw the expression on Mrs. face when Rada went on and on and on and on. And it like was like I read his mind. It was like, why am I going to waste my time here to proceed with the Section 174 application? Because Rada is not going to grant it, he's also going to dismiss it. So I hope, because now the defense must now decide what are they going to do, how are they going to proceed. I really hope the defense will abandon these Section 174 applications and proceed with the defense and call their witnesses.
suspect today. If I remember, because we've been following the case,
Mm,
he came to tell the lawyers. He said the JP is complaining about etiquette.
mm,
Ramsipili had to apologize because he was doing cross examination. He didn't want bottles of waters in front of the lawyers. They must not be drinking water. I remember Ramsipili had to say that he's got a condition. That's why he had to bow down and actually had to drink water. That's one. But then today, what we had a Schweppes or tonic water that is there and in the cup.
mm,
Uh,
mm.
I like coating Defu these days with a pinch of salt. Remember, Defu said in one of his affidavit, he said there was something in Maumela's cup.
While drinking in the bottle, yes. That was what I said.
So, uh, so now, the last time Racha had a judgment, he had the glass of water full of ice. Today he had a Schweppes. We're not sure whether is it like tonic water or lemonade. The
Like
bottle
Tony
was
was
sitting there. Yes, and then he kept on drinking in his cup. Well, he's old, so we accept that he's actually can he will need liquids. But then the etiquette that you wanted, you must also be in a position to
like
reciprocate it. Yes. Now, suspect just to continue to the evidence. I actually said I will need your help, basically in this regard. You know that I've got access to a lot of technical data, and I have decided that I will start wearing a suit. Then you are the one that will be recording things because I will be saying. Because South Africa, I think we've come to a point where gloves are off.
Mm,
We definitely need to protect our country. I'm saying these things is pet because um, I've worked at the airport. I've experienced a lot of things. In such a way, at some point, even at one incident, Ratcha's name was mentioned. Yes,
really?
yes. So, so now you then ask yourself, um, in that midst of crime scene, I need to remember, I sit there, all the police will actually explain things because when they need information, they keep on talking. And I was listening to all of them. Now, these incidents is pet. Remember, I showed you, but we're gonna cover it on that. But it involves the incident of that police officers that shot each other at the Ortambo drug
Yes.
incident. But at the time, that police officer that one was shot was very close to Mdluli. Yes, but anyway, it's pet. I'll do that with the correct receipt involved on that. Now, also, Real Mastermind, just to give you an update, I had a conversation with Sfiso Mewa just to query to follow up on the issue of the Baba Zungu statement. Real Mastermind, you must understand one thing that in South Africa, if you go to court and make a statement under oath, if you are lying, that is a criminal offense.
Mm,
So there is no way that Baba Zungu will want to leave his all of his wife and his family and go and lie under oath. So when Sifiso was trying to find an update on the case, Sifiso was told that the people were told not to investigate the case because it's sensitive. What I then did, I I used the WhatsApp that Brown Mukhoto was using, and I also requested Mkwanas. I said, you know what? We've been following the case of Senzo Mewa. I've risked my life to go down to KZN. I'm also a KZN resident. The inquiry was opened at Newcastle. This is what is happening. So we don't know what is happening, but we cannot. What you spoke about, a criminal justice system that is in the hands of this a particular syndicate. Then I did the same thing. So I forwarded the inquiry. The statement that I've received, I forwarded him to him, and he acknowledged to have received it. So I think that maybe his team is going to look after that. I will just have to follow up in terms of what's the progress on that, because it's very important, South Africa, that we now have a judgment. I am not going to keep quiet now, because at one point we allowed the Constitutional Court to make a judgment which was wrong by saying the SARS rogue unit never existed. Where else we witnessed, we worked with people there. We guys, it's so painful because when you work, you hear people, things that have happened. People were gunned down at the airport. Now, I'm at the point where I refuse that. At this time, I'm gonna go back on depression during state capture, because I've always been saying I cannot afford to see this thing. I was even preparing to write my own affidavit. My boss said, Jabulo, just think about your family. That's what he told me. He said, stand down, think about your family. So now it cannot be that we see things that are currently happening and we are quiet. Now, we're not talking about the 5 accused incidents that they've done before this. We're talking in relations to the Senzo Mewa case and the evidence before this. Real Mastermind and Suspect, I don't have access to a docket. I don't have access to a 205. I only got a portion of the AVL, but I am pleading Suspect and Real Mastermind and any of the family members or a person that is on record or something, if they can give me access to the 205, because I believe, or even the defense Suspect, because the defense, they don't even need a cell phone expert. We can actually coach them, tell them the question that they need to ask to prove their case, because we cannot allow, because the information that was brought in there is not a reflection of SAPS. It's not the capability of SAPS. And the Vodacom information that was right in there, I can tell you now, South African Rail Mastermind, Vodacom will never stand by what Pinky Vitalingham said in that court. There is no way Suspect they will stand by that. Because Nemo Systems Suspect will generate the IMEI numbers of a cell phone, will generate the IP address of the tower. Do you understand? This is digital communication that is currently happening. Now, yes, South Africa, we cannot talk about the defense strategy of the accused person. But what we can talk about is we know that Zungu the son has lied. I can tell you now that Brigadier Kinin, that some of the information that he testified on, it's based on the lie because I've met up with Baba Zungu. I can tell you Mukhane lied on the AVL. I can tell you that Pinky Vitalingham lied. I can tell you that Stain lied. I can tell you now that even the ballistic evidence is based on a lie because the judge now said there is no way that two guns can have the same unique marks. But then now we're sitting here during the same time, there was Prinsloo who was arrested, where the same expert, they've altered evidence, they've uniquely removed the guns. I've got a client that is in Cape Town, suspect. You know, I speak to you about certain things. I'm telling you, Athlone and all the Cape Flats there, we deal with the guns that, you know what? When you speak to Western Cape DFOs, they're working tirelessly, but they feel like that sometimes the system is fighting against them. Now, why now we need to justify the nonsense? Let me tell you why that this is a nonsense. It's a nonsense because the same gun, both Mangena's evidence as well as Mchali's evidence, they are mutually destructive. Mchali denies to have given Mangena a gun on an open exhibit. Then Mangena says he received the gun from Jali on an open exhibit. Suspect, South Africa, we cannot sit down and lie to each other. That time is gone.
We
If
can't.
if if we have to be eliminated, it's fine. But it's always good to die speaking the truth. That
Exactly.
at least you know you've contributed. Because being over 40, it's a bonus, guys. Being over 40 is a bonus.
Um, especially where guns, like in the Cape Flag is involved. A journalist of IO sent me. He wanted to have my opinion of how many children have died over the past 3 years in the Cape Flats, and mind you, between the ages of 14 and 18 years is the highest number in on the Cape Flats. Children are not growing up. They are not being given the opportunity to become adults because they die at the age of 18 years at the hands of the gangsters and the warlords and whatever. And here we are sitting with a gun that we already know that this gun has been stolen and no procedures. And Rata say this is beyond reasonable doubt. This is the gun that was used. And we know what happened to that gun. We know we still on the system. It shows that that gun reported as stolen in 2013. And we went as far as to go to the SAPS uh, uh, ballistic lab to see what is the procedures being followed there. And we found that there was no procedures followed. And Rata is telling the world, not just South Africans. Now, regardless of all that, I believe Zungu. I believe Zungu.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you know, when he says, because real masterminds, we need to give you the same record that Racha says he listens to. When he
Mm.
says Manganya, as well as Rolofse, actually presented something. Let me remind you guys. Uh, Meneer Peterse from SPV, when he testifies, he says the gun was lost in 2013. When the gun was lost, they're saying they circulated the gun. What does circulation mean? Circulations, it means that they file in, they report all the labs that the gun has actually been stolen or so that any crime that happens that involves that gun, the owner of the gun is not implicated in that because it's they have to report it. Now, if Rulovse have worked on the same gun, so it's highly impossible, it is impossible Trulovsa will have, the minute he did the aging process, he sees the number that he will have not picked up that that's a stolen gun from SPV. But then now, they didn't even contact SPV. SPV is only contacted in 2020. Let me tell you, Suspect, the journey of SPV is, it says, we did what we have, but we could not take the gun because the aging process, yes, it matches our gun as our license. So we were going to take it to another gunsmith and re-engrave the number. But then now he says, no, we couldn't take it because the barrel was not matching the gun. So it means now that the gun could have been exchanged because those CZ are known as interchangeable. Any gun that's from the your check, your those things. Yes, those guns needs to have barrels that are interchangeable for the reasons that the Soviet Union had designed the guns for. So now we cannot, it doesn't matter how powerful people can be and whatever platform they can have, but that's the truth that was mentioned. Whether the defense was able to capitalize on that, I think they're trying. They're trying under such circumstances. Now, what South Africa, what we must watch for is that the safety of Zungu the senior
Yeah.
and the safety of Zungu the constable as well.
Yes.
Because we don't
Mm,
want them, yes, we don't want them to be eliminated as if now it's from either side.
mm.
Both the Zungus need to be safe because then he can be recalled. And then also South Africa, the judge has now gone on to witness and saying, Kwabini, they said Kwabini, there was an incident. Let me tell you, I had a conversation with Ubaba Zungu. He does say that the Snago incident did take place. But when it took place, it took place when the boys, Ibandla, there was a party, there was a function that was there. I think maybe it's that wedding that Zungu keeps on referring to. Then they were playing with the gun. When they're playing with the gun and the gun misfired and then it shoots Snako. But when Snako was shot, they said the bullet missed all the vital signs. So he survived. They went to hospital. The police arrived there. So I can tell you there was no case that was opened against Kwabini, and we don't even know whether it was Kwabini's gun that misfired on the day. So there's no case that was open. So there's no way that a judge,
Can now
there
come
was
and
no way that a judge will actually come through and confirm that information that doesn't exist.
Jobs, as
It
we
can't
said,
be.
what time is it now? Oh, it's almost. As we said, we are not going to be quiet. You already reported the safety and the inquiry of Baba Zungu to General Nkonazi. If you can please make follow-ups because there's no that it can be that a member of the public go to the police station, open a case, and give them information of a crime that is being committed in a court of law. And also give them a statement to say, I fear for my life from my son and from Brigadier Kininda. To him and say, no, we cannot investigate your case because the case is too sensitive. Where in the law does it state, or in the SABS regulations that is stated, the police cannot investigate the case because the case is sensitive? Sensitive for who? A crime has been committed and Baba Zungu's life is in danger. He told them, my life is in danger. So I want you, and yesterday also in Jabs, I decided to also reach out to certain people. I contacted relating to the corruption that General Mkonazi mentioned in the judiciary. And I decided, let me contact some people because I could not get hold of the number of the Minister of Justice, but I got hold of the number of a PA and Chief of Staff. I contacted them and I told them, listen, I have information. I heard the Chief Justice say that they want information about corruption in the judiciary. I have information about corruption in the judiciary, in the courts, everywhere. I need to give you my information. They responded late yesterday and say the legal advisor of the minister will call me back today. I'm waiting for that call. But if they don't call me back tomorrow, today, definitely tonight, I will be in their inboxes again. I'm not going to sit and be silent and watch our country. What is currently happening in this country is scary. Our country have been invaded by cartels, by drug cartels, by our country. You know what keeps me awake at night in Jobs is the fact that what if I die, my children are going to become slaves of one of these cartels, because I watched a TikTok video and I even got cold inside my body, inside my heart, when that person was naming the cartels, the Japanese cartel, the Russian cartel, the whatever cartel, Nigerian cartel. All the cartels have territory in our country. And then I watched another one where a pastor was prophesying and said, in the next few years, South Africans are going to be the slaves of foreigners. And I told myself, I say, I will not go down without a fight. I'm going to fight for my children. I'm going to fight for my children's legacy. I'm going to fight against this crime and corruption. And if I die, I die. And masterminds, if you love these children that you brought into this world, what me and Jabs is doing is not just about the Senzo Miwa case. It's about the country as a whole. We are trying to save what is left. And everyone can see crime is out of control in this country. And if you go and look and see who is committing the crime, is the people who is supposed to uphold the law. They are the ones who are committing the crime. So where does it place me and you? If Baba Zungu can go to a police station, open a case, and they say, no, we cannot investigate your case because this is sensitive. And Jabs, can you please follow up with General Mkonazi? How far is this case? Because we cannot accept that Baba Zungu's case cannot be investigated while a crime has been committed in court and while a judge is give a ruling today based on that lie that Baba Zungu is currently disputing.
Yeah, suspect I will definitely do that. I will definitely do that today. I will send a follow up message. I only realized last week when I left Cape Town that they were around Cape Town. I would have actually went there because their conference was a public conference. I would have went there in Century City. Um, it's very important, South Africa, that our fight, it must remain a firm fight. It must remain a constant fight. It must remain a fair fight. because rightly so, Nkoman, you are right. TOPS was not working. If we're saying this incident happened in 2014, there was no bottle store in South Africa that was selling liquor in 2014. The year 2014, there was no bottle store that was selling liquor.
And worst part,
Now,
supermarkets and stores and special licenses, they were banned from dealing in liquor on Sundays because
it's
they had
it,
special licenses. They were banned. So there's no way, and at night for that matter. Let me say for the sake of, maybe for argument's sake, Tops was open that day, but Tops would have closed 6 o'clock, not 9 o'clock in the night.
no, it will have closed at three, half past two
No,
or
12.
3 o'clock on Sunday. No,
Yes.
on Sunday, yes, on
I
Sunday,
mean,
yes.
I think the part where they are selling liquor, there was always and if the defense really wants the truth, records cannot be, those records is still there. Because if they can go even to the liquor authority in that province to go and check on which dates was Stops allowed to deal in liquor. The information is there. I have been working in that department for since 2007, and we knew it's only after the COVID, after COVID, when these bottle stores and liquid outlets and lost so much money, that the operating hours were adjusted. But back in 2014, it was unheard of. Bottle stores were closed, uh, supermarkets were closed, only taverns, yeah, only taverns were only operating until a certain time on Sundays
Yeah,
and holidays.
yes. So that's clear, and then people must understand that once the court, you see, high courts, they formulate laws. You understand? So now, how can a judgment that is based on fraud, on lies? Because remember, if there's a statement that was not taken by a person, but the person is being referenced there, it's a lie. If there is a gun that the person denies that the gun was taken from him, open, it's fraud. It's a
Mm.
lie. If it's a gun where a person who went to testify on a gun and was not able to hand back the gun in 2016, and he keeps quiet, it's fraud. You see,
Perhaps they have started with the proceedings. Let's go back and see what is happening. Census Sikakani is asking us to give them more information on Lieutenant General Konazi and Babazungu. We will come back and give you more information on that. Let's give Njabs a chance to interact with the general and hear what is the current of Baba Zungu's case, and then we will come back and we will give you information on that. Let's go back and see what is the defense is going to decide on this, and then we will proceed. Thank you very much, masterminds, for your likes, for joining our live, and until later, we love you. Bye.